If you remember, Candace Owens went off about the Israeli-Iran conflict, and specifically Benjamin Netanyahu and the Jewish community in her own eloquent way, of course. She had her say, the Anti-Defamation League has theirs.
All right, welcome back to the channel. You're going to have to like and subscribe to channels like this, guys. YouTube don't like me. Hey, welcome back. Like I said, we're going to do a quick reaction to Stephen A. Smith's interview with, I believe his name is Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL. Let's see what they have to say. I'm going to skip to the part where they talk specifically about Candace Owens and her criticism of Israel. Let's go.
Candace Owens, who was a guest on this show just last week. And let me get you to respond to what she has said. I mean, she's got over 4 million subscribers on the YouTube channel, over 6 million followers on Instagram alone. She's very popular. Nobody can deny that. And she's somebody on the right. She's a voter and a supporter unapologetically of Trump, of most conservative causes. But on this particular issue, she has been all in against Israel and then some. So let's hear what she had.
Y'all notice how Stephen A. Smith just always just goes a little bit too damn long? Like, shut up, man. You just you just a filler guy. Go.
Has to say and get your response to exactly what she has had to say about Israel and to some degree the Jewish community. Listen to this.
Well, it was very obvious that this war was going to happen because the American foreign policy is dictated by Israel. And it was problematic that Bibi Netanyahu was increasing his rhetoric against Iran. And this is after they have effectively seized land in Syria. They were cheering what happened in Syria. We knew that it was going to wind up with Christians being mass murdered, which is what's happening right now. And what's happening in the Middle East, for those who aren't clear on this, is Israel is simply is expanding its borders, whether that be by carpet bombing women and children, which we have not had a person with power effectively state that this is morally wrong, of course. And now it seems they also want to annex the West Bank. What's happening in the West Bank, which has nothing to do with Gaza, is the individuals that live there are being traumatized by the IDF. And so if you're paying attention, it's very clear that they have become increasingly radical, and they are effectively, as they always do, using the American military to fulfill their foreign policy interests because they are a small nation. They don't have the bodies to be able to accomplish that. They need the might of the American military to accomplish their foreign Middle Eastern objectives. And so yeah, it was very, I am on record saying this for the last 2 years. We're going to war with Iran one way or the other because what Bibi Netanyahu wants is what Bibi Netanyahu gets.
Floor is yours. Floor is yours.
Now, I want to see what happens before they get started. I want to see if Stephen A. has any pushback, and I want to see if this guy, Jonathan Greenblatt, has directly challenges what Candace Owens is saying. I want to see if he tries to just name call and, over sensationalize stuff, because she made some very direct claims, right? She was fast with it, but she made some direct claims. Let's see if he addresses those claims or if he kind of does that whole spin thing.
Yours, Jonathan, your response to that.
Lie after lie after lie after lie after lie.
Give it to me.
I mean, look, there's a lot to unpack in what she said. Again, the Islamic Republic of Iran declared war on America 46 years ago. They've slaughtered hundreds of servicemen, civilians, journalists, diplomats, etc. They tried to kill the President of the United States.
People have accused Israel of those same things. That's all I'm saying. People have accused Israel of those same things, especially killing journalists and kids and stuff, and Americans for that matter. So, okay. Everyone's accused Israel of those same things. Exact same things you're saying.
Again, President Trump. They've tried to kill and put fatwas out on people like former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN John Bolton, former State Department Special Envoy Brian Hook. I mean, this is what they have done in.
Keep in mind, he said try, try, try. Israel has assassinated a shitload of the Iranian leadership over the last 15 years, 20 years, however long you want to count it. I'm talking about high up guys with their science and engineering programs, generals. So, I mean, you're talking about them trying to do this to U.S. Diplomats, which that's just you saying it. We don't know.
Just recent years. And the reality is that to make these claims that Israel is carpet bombing, does she know what that word, what that term even means? Because you have literally no examples of that whatsoever. Israel hasn't taken any territory out of Syria. Maybe she's talking about the Golan Heights, which Israel took in 1967 after the Syrians shot at Israeli kibbutzim and Israeli civilians, lobbed mortars from that high strategic plateau for decades against them. Maybe that's what she means. Look, Israel has done more to protect religious minorities, including Christians, including Druze, in Syria.
Sometimes you can forget, is he an Israeli or is he an American? Which vantage point is he speaking from? Think about that.
And in Israel, the only country in the Middle East where the Christian community is growing is Israel, not in any of the neighboring.
Have y'all seen the videos out there of the Israelis spitting on Christians when they go there and really fucking like giving them a hard time if they know they're Christians? There's all kinds of videos out there showing that. So, like I said, everything he's saying, you can apply it back to what people say about the Israelis.
Countries. And lastly, I'll just say these claims that like Israel needs America to fight its wars. I mean, look at what the Israeli military has accomplished in Gaza, taking out Sinwar, in Lebanon, taking out the Hezbollah leadership, in Iran, taking out the Iranian military command structure.
So, which one is it? Are you guys the victim or the extreme aggressor? Now you're listing off all the victories and all the successes of the taking out leadership and whatnot. Then you're listing failures of the Iranians, saying they tried to do this and they tried to do that. And like I say, which vantage point is this guy speaking from? Is he an Israeli or is he an American? And the claim that America's been fighting their wars and fighting on Israel's behalf is not an insane claim. That's very logical. It's extremely logical. I'm not going to get into a whole dissertation about it, but it's extremely logical. Duh. Anyone who's paying attention understands that.
You know, all over, Israel has fought these wars entirely on its own. Now, it's certainly true that the Israeli military uses some American military equipment for which they pay.
He said some.
Most of the money that we give to Israel military aid, Israel's obligated to spend on U.S. munitions, U.S. equipment, U.S. hardware. So this is a very positive relationship, and it gives us a beachhead in.
I'm going to tell you, this relationship the United States has with Israel, and I'm going to say the United States, not the American people. Most of the American people are probably level-headed and don't care for one. And the ones that pay attention would probably be a little skeptical of Israel. I think it's a very, quote-unquote, dangerous relationship, just based on what the Israelis say. They appear to be ride or die type shit. Like, they'll take this bitch down, or try to, with every bit of power that they have, if it doesn't go their way, or they think it's not going to go their way. So I think it's a dangerous relationship. So be mindful of that.
In the most, in this very strategic part of the planet.
Okay.
So America doesn't fight Israel's wars, but let me make sure that your listeners are clear about this.
All they do is just say, America doesn't do that. That's his whole defense. No, we don't.
It is anti-Semitic and a long-standing practice to accuse the Jews.
You knew that word was coming. I'm surprised he didn't use it sooner. Fuck out of here, bro.
Of manipulating events for their own interests. Again, the Russians use this to justify the massacres of the Jews.
Isn't that a hell of a trump card to be able to try to throw out in a game? The rule is you can't say I do this. Like, wow. If you do, you're this bad thing. How convenient. I like how everything is just so convenient.
Nazis use this to justify the massacres of the Jews Arab governments use this to justify pushing out and mastering the Jews after 48. And now Candace Owens is using it. And it's not just irresponsible, it's incitement. And so I don't care how many followers she has.
Now, I believe him when he says that. Sometimes, I have to think about these, some of these guys like from the ADL, and when they say stuff like this, and they freak out about when you criticize Israel. And they say words like, oh, it's incitement to violence, and they use words like Nazis and this and that and the other. Maybe they're right. Maybe if people knew the shit they were doing, they would want to get the Jews out of here or something like that. I don't know. It could work both ways. Because this fear that they have, it's not reasonable. It's just not reasonable. Innocent men don't act like this.
What she doesn't have at her fingertips are the facts. And a cursory understanding of these issues would lead you to conclude that the claims that she's making are not just spurious, they're just flat out wrong.
Heard what you had to say about Candace Owens. Let's talk about folks on the extreme right, the Steve Bannons of the world, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, and others who are adamant that.
All right, we'll leave it there. He mentioned some people there at the end. All those people are feds and fakes. That Marjorie Taylor Greene, she not coming to save y'all. She ain't saying shit. Don't buy that. Okay? She's part of the game too. I think he said Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is strange. He's strange. I wouldn't really even. Even Candace, we'll see where she falls in the end of this thing, but they really don't like her. And it's all about influence. That's all. It's all about influence, influence, influence. And some people have a natural influence, and some people have a very unnatural influence where they have to use bribery, deceit, fear, murders, all the negative things in order to influence. Then there's one that comes from God where it's more just natural, just in the way you speak, how you share truth. It just comes from God. It can't be bought. It can't be sold. You can't kill it. It's just a natural influence. So it kind of boils down to those two things. Stephen A. Smith, I don't know what your purpose is here. I know you didn't write those questions down and think of those questions on your own. He's just a way to get into the black community. That's what they use Stephen A. Smith with. He's like a funnel into the guys who like sports and know a little bit about politics. And if Stephen A's not pushing back, he's just a open hole, ready to devour anything that comes his way. So, hey, appreciate y'all for watching this, and I'll see y'all next time.